doing all this right?
Yes. All right, all right. Well, Rachel, we are officially live and I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for a couple weeks now. It's only been a couple weeks that I started this new playlist on YouTube, but as I was starting to think of what every entrepreneur needs to know in starting their own business, one of the first things that came to my mind is I was like, I need Rachel to talk about authenticity. Oh my gosh. And so thank you. I know you put this on your schedule quick, but why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself? Mom of two, wonderful marriage, awesome husband. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I just turned 28 a couple weeks ago. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have an awesome husband. We met in high school. We've been together for 10 years. I have 2 little boys. I'm a boy mom. Definitely did not sign up for that. I don't, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I'm not cut out for the boy stuff, but they love me so much. And they've completely transformed my world. My oldest is about to be 7 and my youngest is about to be 4. So they keep me busy. And I became an entrepreneur, if you want to call it that fancy word, 6 years ago, which is insane. And Cami, I don't know if you know this about my story or just like my background, but sometimes I can have a lazy mindset and I give up on everything that gets hard or that like lasts a long time. And I am so proud of myself because I've completely transformed my life with my work from home business. And like I said, I joined 6 years ago when I was just a broken, fragile college student trying to raise my son. And here I am, and this last 6 years have just been a whirlwind. And I just can't believe where we're at in our life.
You know what I feel like I need to say before we keep going, you guys? She said she was a college student when she started her business and in this world of being an entrepreneur. You know, some of you watching this, you have dreams and aspirations to do something, but you're just kind of wondering what it would look like. Lots of people begin, you know, being an entrepreneur while they're doing other things, because some people can't just start a business and all of a sudden depend on it. You know, it takes some time to get it going to where you can depend on it. So, you know, not sure what your background is, but I love that. 28 years old, you started this in your early 20s, also a young mom. I love it. And the world of social media has just changed in 6 years drastically, hasn't it?
Yes. Insane. I mean, I think about when I started 6 years ago, I only had Facebook. I didn't do Snapchat. I didn't have Instagram. All of those things were just like foreign to me. And here we are now. We have Instagram, TikTok, the Reels, all of the things to just make your platform that much bigger. And it's just so crazy, because one of the reasons why I said no to working from home was I didn't have a platform. I was barely on social media. Like I said, I did things backwards. So I kind of shut down Facebook because all my friends were just like living the normal 20-year-old life. And I was trying to grow up and I was kind of bitter. And so I thought I wasn't qualified for it because of my lack of social media. And here now, like I said, there's all these different platforms and I'm on all of them and I love it.
We were just talking about, I mean, who knows when this video is going to be seen, but Reels is new right now. And we're both kind of talking about getting our act together on Reels. And I want you guys to know, like, being an entrepreneur, you are constantly trying new things. You are constantly reinventing yourself. And sometimes things don't work out, but then they do. And it's like, what just happened? Like you said, you didn't even have a platform, and yet you built most of your business online, right?
Yep. Almost all of it, really all. Not beat around the bush.
Kanan wanted to join us. He's like, I'm a stay-at-home dog.
Oh, so cute.
Okay, so one of my favorite things about what you've always done, and I'll be honest, so, you know, I started my world of being a business owner when I was 26 years old. Okay, I'm 40 now. Like, that's a lot of difference. And so I might have been the young girl back then, but that is not my reality now. And so to me, sometimes social media can be very intimidating. And, but one thing that's always impressed me about you is how authentic you are on social media. And part of that is, I mean, you talk about real struggles. You talk about wins. You talk about the good and you talk about the hard things. And I think so often when I look at social media, it just feels hard sometimes. I'm like, their life is so perfect. Mine is a mess back here, you know, or whatnot. So talk to me a little bit about that and what your strategy is.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. And I think the important thing to know, I know that there's we don't know who's viewing this, right? So I think the important thing to know about me, and it could be the same thing for you guys, is I have a lot of insecurities, and I've always been like, just, I don't know why, I don't know where it stems from, but I've always been like more of an insecure. I know this weird, when you see someone on a video, it's hard to believe that that person might be shy, but I am shy when I don't know people. And so I think that because I knew that I was shy, so I lacked a little bit of confidence and I had insecurities, I was like, that's either going to break me or make me. And so I think for me, it was like, if I could just embrace them, I know I'm not naive in thinking I'm the only one that has these struggles. So if I could embrace them and use them as a part of my story, I can connect to all of those people out there that don't feel like they have an identity or are shy or don't have the best speaking skills. And so for me, because of my insecurities, I'm like, it makes me more loud about them, if that makes sense. It's like, if I can address them before someone else does, and it's so ridiculous because some of the things, it's just all in my head. And so for me, it was when I started all of this, it was like, okay, I don't want, my fear is being salesy and being annoying on social media. So if I can just make this my life and be a little bit louder about my life and kind of thinking about it in the sense of a diary, but disclaimer, I'm not putting all my dirty laundry on there, but in your diary, you would write about your wins, your struggles, what you're praying for. And so when I started doing that, I don't even know when I did, I just started getting more confident and louder about my life, because now I've invited everyone on my platform to be a part of it. And whether they're a part of the same business or a part of another business, or maybe we're just social media friends, I have connections now because I've been myself. And for me, it scares me to death to be like the perfect person. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to try to be perfect. That feels really hard. So if I just embrace myself, I know I'm not the perfect person for everyone and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm myself. And that's really awesome. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Just invite your platform. They're on your platform for a reason. I want to offer value. And I don't live this extravagant life. I mean, I like to stay inside. I know I look put together, but I like to just be comfortable, and I'm a homebody. So it's not like I have all these crazy things to post about. I'm just sharing my life. And then once people fell in love with me, I feel like they're in love with everything, what I'm a part of, my family, because I've invited them in. So that's kind of my strategy. It stemmed from my insecurities and not wanting to keep them in because I want to grow from them. So,
well, and I'm sure you've heard the quote that people connect with our imperfections,
yeah,
not with the perfections, you know, because we connect through those struggles. And, you know, Rachel, it's funny because I got on social media for the simple fact that I was like, if people want to get to know me, so they know me a little better before they want to do business with me, that'll be a way that they can just kind of go check it out a bit, you know? Now, I didn't think of it from a place of like, I love what you said. It's not where we highlight our dirty laundry. It's not like we're swearing. You guys, if you're an entrepreneur, you are the brand representation for your business. And so I'm not saying you can't swear. I'm saying don't do it on social media. You know, I'm saying, if you have really, you know, they say stay away from politics and a couple other things like that you stay away from things like that. It's just wise, right? And so you just got to be careful that you're not putting dirty laundry out there, but that doesn't mean you can't share when you're having a bad day. Rachel, I remember your business took off and then it really stuttered out for a while. And so part of what you were sharing was just the struggle of being an entrepreneur, of building a business. And it is hard, you know, it's not easy, but you made the decision to, you know, pick your heart and look where you are now. Because you push through some of those walls. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you, what's coming to mind?
Well, I think the crazy thing is, and it kind of goes back to what you started with, is explaining like, it's been 6 years for me, it's been more for you, and just evolving of social media and all of the platforms and adding to that. And it's like, we changed the way we also like, you know, worked our business and even just broadcast our life. Like everything changes. And I just think about 2014 and now and how different it is. And it's like, again, you can either keep you could make social media your highlight reel in the sense of like just acting. And I did that in the beginning. And I remember, and I mean, I have regrets within that, but I remember just always acting like life is perfect. I don't have to work, all of the things. Like we just painted this beautiful picture. And I don't know why, probably just because you wanted to attract people into your life, but it became hard. And then when business got really hard, I was like, man, I mean, this is a big part of my story. I'm starting over. I'm learning things. I'm struggling in my home, like all of these things that I knew I would overcome. But again, it's like when you just invite people to be a part of it, I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to be a fraud. And I knew that if I could show people, like, even through the hard times, I've been loud and proud and honest about it. It just shows people that you don't have something wrong with you because you deal with hard stuff, right? And you can overcome it. And when you own your own, like when you are a part of a business, it's not always up and up and up, but you can always make a comeback from that. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Gosh, you're saying so many things that I'm like, I really believe people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I love the way that you put yourself out there so they do get to know you. Like, I think I heard it said once that, whatever the 5 things that make up who you are should be the things that you're really talking about consistently on your social media. And I'll tell you what, like, I just really believe God put me on this earth just to be an encourager and to just love on people, but also elevate their perspective, because I truly believe that they were meant to do more and be more. And so when we first went into quarantine, oh, there's my puppy.
I know, I was looking.
2 of them, they love to do this with me. I remember just how scary, what's life going to be like? I remember thinking, what's going to happen? We have no idea. What's next? And so I started a coffee chat, and every morning, 6 days a week, for anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes, I would just get up, share kind of some of the thoughts that I was having for that day, how I was going to handle what was being thrown my way that day. And again, some days I barely rolled out of bed. Probably hadn't showered in 2 days. I think I watched one the other day. I was wearing the same outfit 2 days in a row, and I was like, oh, quarantine problems. I just realized I wore this shirt yesterday. But something that made me really successful in business was allowing people to come spend a day with me, a couple hours with me, and just get to know me. So instead of thinking I'm this really successful entrepreneur and so untouchable, they could go, oh my gosh, she's so real. And then once social media became a larger part of our business, we have to find ways to give people an idea of who we are and what it looks like to do what we're doing in a positive way. Doesn't mean it has to be easy, but it does need to be real, because if they just think it's a bunch of beautiful photos and, just like, I got to do this and I won this, you and I both know that is not real at all.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you bring authenticity? Even, I know you talked a little bit about, because you do work from home and so you bring that into your home life, but how do you take that same perspective of being authentic offline, not just online?
Yeah. So like, the thing, it's communication. And I think what the crazy thing is, whether you have your own business or you go to work, whatever you have, like, it's communication is key in all the things. And so for me, this is something too, like within my home and keeping it offline, this is something that I've struggled forward, because there's just not this rule book, and it all happens so fast. And before you know it, it's like 6 years in and you feel like you don't even have life figured out. And so I think the biggest thing is like learning through the ups and the downs. And so when times have been hard at home, whether it was because or wrapped into the business, it's just, we communicated through it. And we've been together for 10 years. So we don't have it all figured out, but we know each other and we know what works. And we both are the same, but yet very opposite parents. So we have to step in when the other isn't. And so I think the biggest thing is like just talking and bringing them into my life. And so this is mostly my thing. My husband doesn't do the same thing, but he's dad, he's all of the things. And that is great. And it's a blessing in itself, but there can be issues if there isn't communication, in the sense of me putting my head down, and I'm a fast worker. And sometimes I just don't even ask for help, and I don't even bring my kids on board, because I'm like, I can do it better by myself. So I think the biggest thing is communicating. And when we're about to enter, I know there's like a debate on if there are seasons or not. I believe there are seasons in life. I just think there are, and especially within business. But before, during, and at the end, we're always sitting down and figuring out what's working. What are we really doing good at? What do we need to do better? How's our love tank? All of the things, because I'm not good at it. I drop the ball more than he does. And I got that hustle mindset. So sometimes I have to turn it off and realize just because I'm home doesn't mean I have to be locked in my office all the time. The boys can be in here too. Certain Zooms where they're not super professional, they can be in here too, you know? And I think it's just really communicating and making sure we're on the same page, and also slowing myself down to tell them what I'm doing and how it's benefiting us, because sometimes they just don't see it, especially having younger kids at home. And then before you know it, they're like number 6, 7, 8 on my priority list. So we've made a lot of mistakes, but we just communicate through them, and we explain when something feels off, whether it's Zach or me or the kids are acting up. We're always talking about it because we're not perfect, and we know we don't have it figured out, but we want to be better and learn from our mistakes.
You know what I admire about you? When we get on the phone and just something's going on in business, you are not afraid to say, I'm having these feelings.
Yeah.
Just what you said. You'll say that to me. I'm having these feelings. I know they can't be real. Or you'll say, I know I'm sensitive. But you're just like, what I love about that is proactive. It's not reactive. You know, it's not waiting until it gets like into some big something that you're like, where did that even come from, right? The minute you start to have that feeling, you say something. And I think whether you're in business for yourself, whether you have a small team or a really large team, and then let's just talk about the fact that a lot of entrepreneurs work from home. Yeah. And then there's that where just like the lines blend. I love all the things you're sharing about family, because that can be challenging. I mean, you're talking, my kids are about to walk through this door in 25 minutes. And so I have things timed, because when they walk through that door, I mean, dogs are going to go crazy. I want to be there for them. How was their day? But I don't pick them up every day. I like to pick them up every day, but I do not pick them up every day. And so, anyways, that's a fun little game of balancing as well. And I like how you said you shut the door, but then you leave it open sometimes. I think just those small things matter.
Mm-hmm. It just doesn't have to be perfect all the time. And I think that when I get in my head, and I think also the reason why I'm so vocal about like when something feels off is because I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, but because I'm so sensitive, I'm very sensitive and fragile. I can so easily go down the dark hole of like, woe is me, and life is so hard and everything's falling apart, when it's probably not. I'm just very dramatic. And so if I don't address it, I can't figure it out. And I think that oftentimes we feel like it's weak if you address the issues. My marriage isn't going well, or my kids just keep acting up, or I'm not able to be there for them. We just push it under the rug, right? Sweep it under the rug. And I've always been that way. And I don't know why. Probably just, again, I can go down a dark hole. So if I don't address it and figure it out, it's not going to be good for the grand scheme of things.
Okay, so guys, I want to talk about something. We started it. I want to get back to it here for a minute. So before, social distancing and the pandemic and the reality of building business virtually in this digital economy we're living in, thank goodness for all the technology to help us. But I believe even now in small groups, people are starting to get together again. I believe we're going to see that happen more and more. And as people, you're never going to take the power of proximity out of this business. You're never or out of business, I should say, because I believe no matter what you're doing, people is a primary product of what you're doing, because you're interacting with people, whether you're trying to make a sale, whether you're trying to grow your team, whether you're, getting contracts going on, whatever that is. And so you guys, something that was always a key to my success. Now there's a difference between being unprofessional and being real. And I think that's a little bit of what Rachel was talking about online with airing your dirty laundry versus being authentic. So again, we need to be professional, but I do think there's an element of when you get to spend time with someone and see what it looks like in real life, what they're dealing with. Number one, I think you're going to realize I'm not much different than that person. If they can do it, I can do it too. And there's just something about that. So for those of you that are new to business and maybe you're just starting on your path, I would encourage you to get in proximity with the people that you want to do work with, do business with, build relationships with, because it's in those real present moments, or just opportunity for them to see you live life. They're going to realize they're not much different than you, and they can do what you're doing too. Anything you want to say about that, Rachel? Because that's just a big thing to me.
No, it is. And it's kind of, all I can think of is like success leaves clues and like your inner circle, right? And I think the biggest thing, it's like, whether it's pre all of this world stuff that started in February or now, it's like, ask questions, don't be afraid. And I think about like when we are at the same event, Cami, I'm like, I know, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So I'm like, can I come over? Can you do breakfast? Are you free? It's okay if you say no, but
Yes.
I want to be around her because she makes me feel better. And it's the same thing, whether you can physically be in person or through social media. I'm not afraid to be like, hey, you inspire me. How can I just like get in the same circle or like just be around them? And sometimes you don't know until you ask. So surround yourself, like Cami said, as much as you can, whether it's online or offline. That's what's going to make you level up. And that, I completely agree with everything you said.
It's funny because I'll never forget the first time I got to spend some time in proximity, not in my business at all, just a mentor for me, you know, somebody that has mentored me in the area of leadership. And I got to have lunch with him. And I remembered watching several of his like mannerisms and just some of the things he was doing. And I was like, oh, he deals with the same things. I know why he's doing that, because I know why he doesn't want coffee or tea. He probably's had already so much caffeine by noon, you know, it's lunchtime. Just the things, like you said, success leaves clues. Two of my favorite books, and if you have a book, I want you to recommend it. Two of my favorite books that have helped me with this. The first one is by John Maxwell. It's still to this day one of my favorite books because I thought it really taught me the art of being a business owner. And that is Everyone Communicates, But Few Connect. And that's by John Maxwell. And you guys, that is for a digital world, and that is for an in-person world, both very important. And the second one is by Dale Carnegie. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. It's the newest edition called In the Digital Age. And so two books, if this is an area you go, yeah, I could get better at this, but I genuinely want to be this kind of person. I think those are two really great reads for you. How about you, Rachel? Anything you want to add to that? A podcast?
I'm more of a reader than a listener, and I'm looking at my bookshelf and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many. But something I remember, it actually kind of makes me want to read it again because it was one of the first books. Have you ever read Girl Code?
No.
Girl Code was so stinking good. And I remember it being like just like girl power, like successful business owner type of deal. And that was so good. And Millionaire Mindset. Those were two books that like I think we could read over and over and over again when it comes to just like the excitement of just leveling up all around.
Leveling up, I like that. You know, it's funny because part of the reason I'm doing this, Rachel, is because I have spent far too much of my life going, I need to find a woman who is where I want to be, who is also juggling kids and killing it in her career. Like, I just want more of those women. And sometimes in our efforts to find something, we fail to see what we have right in front of us. And we just happen to have a really, really powerful group of men, couples, and women who are doing, as a single mom of three, who has a very successful career. That's just something that not only do I want for my life so I can continue to level up, but I want to continue to help others around me level up, because I think of those who invested in me, that is why I'm part of where I am. And for a long time, I just was kind of gravitating towards men. And I'm like, but wait, they're not juggling the kid thing. And I would love for someone to speak to some of those pain points. And it's just real life, juggling all the things, and it's messy, you guys. So I think the biggest thing I wanted them to hear from you, Rachel, is don't be afraid to share the mess. Having things be messy, not being perfect, doesn't make you unprofessional. You know what I mean? It makes you real. And I really believe we need more real stories of people out there getting it done so that we can really see what we want happening in real space. And it makes it that much more for us to believe that it's possible. And for those of you that are here listening, whether you've been an entrepreneur for a long, long time, or you're brand new to this whole entrepreneurial thing, get ready, buckle up, because you are headed on a ride of a lifetime, and it's going to teach you more about yourself than you probably even cared to know. But it's going to be fun, right, Rach?
It is. And the pros outdo the cons. And it's like, I've never been naive, even though I, like 60 years ago, I was like naive and ignorant and like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I've never been naive in thinking that life's always going to be good and easy. And so I think now, being where I'm at 6 years and just feeling like established and feeling like I have my head on straight, life isn't perfect, but I got it figured out. I want others to feel the same way, and I want to help them. And I think when you get to that point in your life or in your business, it almost makes you uncomfortable to keep it in, right? Like, I don't even know how I work it if like all social media got shut down. I'm like, how do I save others? Like, I just want to help everyone. And that's what makes it so easy for me to encourage others and talk about the bad and the good and all the things, because I just don't want anyone to feel isolated in the sense of my life does not look like hers, so I could not do that, or I can't have a successful life, because that couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, I couldn't agree more. In my efforts to want to help people see they were made for more, I'm like, listen, if God can use this lady and he continues to use this lady, listen, the sky is the limit. And just to be able to look into their eyes and be like, you can do anything, you really can. And you're so much stronger than you think you are. And that's what you need for being, you know, maybe we should stop and rewind and just talk about how much you need a high grit IQ, right? Because
Yes.
we could spend another whole 30 minutes on that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add? Any last minute quote, comment, recommendation, encouragement?
No, I would just say, like, in a world that is so unpredictable, and I mean, like, I know, especially with where we're at right now, it's like sometimes I open up my social media and I'm like, man, this is just not what I wanted to see all day long. It's like, I know and same with you guys, everybody watching, we have the ability to be the light. And I know not one person can just, like, I'm not going to be able to transform the whole world, but I know that I have a gift, and I know that I am a positive influence. So I want to use that to my advantage. So if you're on here and you have a platform, whether you have your own business or you're just on social media, you can make a difference, and you can be encouraging to others. And I would just encourage you and leave you with that. That's really it. I just love what I do, and I love that social media is that platform to get me to where I want to be, and I'm just forever thankful for it.
Well, and I think that you guys, so much good stuff today, but I do want you to know that if you're an entrepreneur, social media is your friend. As scary, as intimidating, and the less you have it together, probably the better you're going to do, more authentically, and absolutely connect with people. You know, people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so they need to get to know you. And right now, for some of us, the only way they can get to know us is virtually. You know, it used to be you could do a little bit of both, and we don't know how things are going to evolve over the next several weeks, months, or even years. But we know this, that you can, you should be using social media no matter what you do, because it's a great tool to help you build that business. So thanks, Rachel. I love that. I love be a light. You're right. That's what we get to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Of course.